everyone, and welcome to Eternal Mooncast special program Bishoujo Senshi Slumber Party. We're on the current adventure of the React series of the Sailor Moon DiC dub. This will be the discussion portions for episodes 61 through 65.
Sailor Moon has a long and rich history, but have you seen everything? I'm Relia, and these are my friends Monica and Michi. We are three lifelong Sailor Moon fans who dove headfirst into the fandom and have stayed there ever since. We love being part of the fandom for this genre-defining series. If you've been watching and you'd like to jump to a particular episode, timestamps will, as always, be in the description.
Now, we know some of you may not have seen the original DiC dub. If you want to watch along with us and enjoy our reactions, join our Patreon and get in on the fun. It's free, unless you'd like to get our reactions 1 week early, and then that's $1 whole. Please enjoy. The link is in the description below.
All right, so let's dive into discussing episodes 60 to 65. As usual, Monica and I have watched them in both Japanese and English to try to give a little more commentary about them. The Japanese episode numbers for this series, if you're following along with that, are going to be episodes 67 to 72.
And we'll be summarizing each episode, talking about them, and sharing our thoughts with you. We're excited to share our favorite moments, what we loved, and everything else in between. So go ahead and join the chat or post in the comments and let us know what you think about each episode too.
Thank you to our citizens of the Mooniverse on Patreon and our subscribers on Twitch. You help make the Moony magic. A reminder that this is a monthly show, and these are all just our personal opinions. We in no way represent Toei Biz or the Sailor Moon intellectual property in any way.
Hi, gang.
Hey, everybody.
I hope everybody's excited for these episodes, because these were some action-packed ones.
Yeah, so I think, when do we want to talk about the cut episode? Do we want to talk about that? Because the cut episode is actually before the 5 episodes that we watched in DiC. Do we want to talk about that now? Or do we want to talk about that later? It is perhaps the wildest episode in existence.
It's really bizarre. Maybe we talk about it at the end, because there's not, like, we don't have a comparison to do.
Yeah, so let's do it at the end.
Okay, so that's great, because that means those of you who are joining us for the stream, please stay tuned to the end. You do not want to miss the Loch Ness Monster episode.
They go
definitely hang in there for that. It is, you cannot prepare yourself for the wildness of this episode.
Whatever you think might happen in what we just described as a Loch Ness Monster episode, you're wrong.
Yeah, you could not possibly be prepared for what will happen in the Loch Ness Monster episode. But we're going to save it for the end of today's discussion.
I also want to reassure you that it is not good.
No.
Is it a good episode?
No.
Hell no.
No. God, no. It is perhaps the worst episode I've ever seen. It's just also the most insane episode I've ever seen.
Darn, can you imagine the decifying it?
We're going to talk about that.
We sure are. All right, let's table that for the moment. That'll be our special treat for the end of today's discussion. Let's move on instead to the first DiC episode that we're going to be discussing. Monica, do you want to hit us with the Japanese title for this one?
Yeah, the Japanese title is Protect Chibiusa, Clash of the 10 Soldiers.
Okay, all right. And Michi, let us know when you're ready with the DiC title.
Naughty and Nice.
Naughty and Nice. All right, all right. I like Naughty and Nice for this. It's not super informational, but it does suit the sort of mirrored clash that this episode represents.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's dig into it. Here's your summary for this episode. We start off, Serena is having a dream about her dream wedding to Darien. It's taking place in a rabbit-themed church. She's having a great time. She wakes up from that dream, and because it was only a dream and her life is going really badly right now, she feels sad about it. Wise Man and Rubius discuss like the status of the war that's happening in the future. Wise Man says like, oh, our attacks were rebelled by a mysterious shield, and the visual shows like the Inner Senshi creating the mysterious shield. Meanwhile, Chibiusa feels bad and runs off, and Luna basically pesters Serena into going to find her. Serena's like, how come that's my responsibility? And Luna's like, because she's your responsibility. And Serena's like, how come it's not your responsibility? And Luna's like, I'm a cat. So Chibiusa is missing home, and so she tries to use the time key to return home, but once again, it doesn't work for her. She's very upset again that she can't go home. She starts crying, and it creates, again, the energy beam that we're used to seeing with her. So because of this energy beam, immediately the Spectre sisters find her. Luna is there and she distracts them, and Rini uses this chance to run off. Meanwhile, in the confusion, Luna goes and finds the girls and sends them to help. Serena also now finds Rini, who's been running away, and chases her. They run into what looks like a construction area, and Serena sees Rini crying to herself and having a conversation with Luna P. Well, the Luna Ball, sorry. The Luna Ball tells her that she should trust the Sailor Scouts. The sisters then find Rini again in this construction area, so Serena transforms into Sailor Moon to help her. The girls also show up. We get a big showdown between the Spectre sisters and the Inner Senshi. And Rubius also shows up. He's fighting Sailor Moon. Tuxedo Mask then shows up to help them. Sailor Moon then attacks the Black Moon clan. Rubius immediately gets scared because he's a loser, and he retreats. Sailor Moon then asks Rini, like, point blank, if she comes from the future, tries to get more info, but Rini just, like, nebulously asks them for help. And then we get a shot of Wise Man, who, like, is scrying in his hologramness, and he notices that Sailor Moon reminds him of the future queen, and that's the episode.
You left out my favorite part.
What's your favorite part?
She's got the power.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that does play in the. We've got another DiC dub banger.
An
It's
absolute
so good.
banger. Yep. It is a very good one. As usual, they never shoot to miss in terms of the DiC songs. They are always absolute bangers. It's so funny because when you said you left out my favorite part, there was a significant piece of the storytelling that was left out of the DiC episode, and that would be this episode's focus on bedwetting.
Yeah, there's a whole subplot of Chibiusa pissing the bed.
Interesting.
The whole, like, she gets in
Yep.
Usagi's bed, she pees herself because she's deeply traumatized, and gets pee on Usagi and the bed, and Usagi wakes up and thinks she's peed the bed, and then
Luna
everyone
makes fun of her for it, to be clear.
Luna gives her an incredible amount of shame for having possibly peed the bed, instead of being like, hey, you're too old to be doing this. Are you okay?
Are you okay? Yeah.
What, did you sleep so hard that you didn't read that? Or, like, is something wrong? Instead of having any sort of concern over
Right.
a very concerning sign, she's just like, oh my god, at your big age?
Oh my god.
It's really mean. Like,
Yep.
I think I have a note that just says, shut the fuck up, Luna.
It is so out of pocket. Yeah, so she discovers a wet spot in the bed. Luna thinks that Serena wet the bed, and then they discover that it was actually Rini, Chibiusa, who had crawled into bed with her, as she often does, and then presumably had some sort of sad dream, wet the bed. There's a whole flashback to the fact that this has happened in the future before, and it happened in the future. Her mom comforted her. And so when Chibiusa is running off later in the episode, it's because she was embarrassed about having wet the bed. And that context is missing in DiC because they decided to leave out the bedwetting.
Interesting. Okay, and sorry, I did not know that, so I did not set you up for anything.
Yep, nope.
I find that funny because the DiC dub was, like, aiming to be all about being, like, relatable to kids and aiming at a much younger audience than Sailor Moon is aimed at. So, like, that seemed like perfectly good Sailor Moon Says material. Like, if that's something you're struggling with, like, that's a problem. You should talk to a trusted adult.
Yep. Yeah, it was an unusual cut. I think, like, they were so censorious at that time that to them, like, this is potty humor, and that was perhaps too vulgar for them, too intimate.
Ray can't be religious. We can't say that they're ever drinking coffee.
No, it's gotta be Coco.
Yeah, so it's this censorship was often just so overly aggressively blandifying. And I think this is an example where, like, this wasn't something, like, scandalous or anything like that, but they still heavily censored the episode to completely remove that, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Also, for context, we watched all the Japanese episodes together in the hotel room at Katsucon.
We sure did.
I love
Sure did.
that.
Yep.
That is true.
Do we mind? Can we listen to She's Got the Power? Because I found the clip.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, we absolutely can.
Yeah, we absolutely can.
Because I'm like, I think this is such a banger of Sailor Moon.
I will not
don't-
turn down a DiC song.
I also don't know how much of the song we can play. How much of this?
Right.
This is a clip from Sailor Moon Says Archive 3521.
Okay.
And it's a re-upload from Sailor Moon Says. So we'll just play a small clip of it. And if I have to, I
And
can
if you
always
have to
edit
cut
it
it
out.
more, yeah.
Are you alright, Sailor Moon?
She will as soon as she gives up. Face it, you're no match for the power of the
loser.
Negamoon. I've seen the future and you're not in it.
They are in fact in it.
I'm Rubius from the far side of the Negamoon. I live to see Crystal Tokyo ruled by the forces of the Negamoon. So may
I like that they
suggest
do
you
refer to it as
hand
the
over.
far
I
side of the
really don't
Negamoon
want
and
to
not the
hurt
dark
you.
side of the Negamoon.
Yeah.
Fine then, taste the fire of the Negamoon.
Brilliant flash of light. A battle has begun, and only one will win the
Sailor
fight.
Moon, don't let them take me! I won't!
Destroying everything in sight.
Terry Hawk's as
Sailor Moon, wake
usual,
up!
doing the
Sailor
most.
Moon! Don't leave me! She's a naughty, sneaky little fungus. A major brat, totally spoiled. And she hogs my bed. Don't go, I need you! But something about her, oh, I just can't help liking the little spore.
Ready to go? Time's a-wasting!
Oh, no, you don't. I'm not letting you or anybody take her. You hear me? Nobody takes her without facing me first. You're dusted, Buster.
Bullying little kids, how low do you go, pal? You just a schoolyard bully?
Find out, kid
Yes.
boy!
Yes, he is.
Sees that all is lost. She knows what she must do. She's got the power. She's got the power. She's got the power. Yeah, she's got the power.
Hey, Sailor Moon, this guy could use some scepter therapy, don't you think?
Sure could.
She's got the power. She's got the power.
It only ended there.
Nope. Look at him running away.
Out of here! Hurry up, sisters! We'll be back, Sailor Scouts!
Just another probably music
a
kitchen
banger.
banger. Yeah.
Yeah.
My note from the episode says, "Oh hey, she's got the power. I forgot that was here."
Yeah, yeah.
So, fun fact, She's Got the Power, which is performed by 80s musician Stan Bush, who also wrote and performed Fight to Survive from Bloodsport and The Touch from Transformers the movie.
Huh.
Okay, all right.
Some big acting credits, but it does sound very 80s.
It does
Yeah.
sound very 80s. That's cool and vintage
love
now.
it.
So
Yeah, I love it. I think it, like in that clip, also for people watching, if you got to see the clip, if we didn't have to cut it, which we don't know yet, but you'll get to experience some of Rubius's voice acting as well, which I also really enjoy. I think obviously he's garbage. He's the worst. But his voice acting performance is like successfully really good. It really sells him as being the worst. I think that he successfully just really sounds like a douchebag. He really is putting a lot of emotion and verve into all of his performances. I really appreciate it.
yeah, I would agree with that. I think he really it's one of the DiC dub voices that like really fits the character.
Yes.
Also, if I turn my head to the side, I look a little bit like Phoenix Wright.
Yeah.
You do.
Projection.
Rubius just has such a good voice. Like, his actor definitely put 110% into it.
Absolutely. And it's not a large role because although his arc is theoretically quite long, we know that he shows up for 2 seconds to be like, you, woman servant, do my bidding. You're a loser and I hate you, but go do my bidding. And then doesn't participate in the rest of the episode. So he doesn't always get a lot to work with, and it's really nice to see how much heart goes into his performances, especially when he gets to be on the field like this.
Overall, it's just a fun episode. Honestly, without the song, I don't like the episode as much.
I think I like this one, and I think what we'll find as a theme throughout these 5 episodes, not the Loch Ness episode, is that all of these episodes universally are moving the plot forward. These are not strictly filler episodes. And so what you'll find is that like things are happening that are changing the course of the ongoing plot. Characters are experiencing development. And I think that in some ways, I feel like this episode was shortchanged by the removal of the bedwetting subplot, because I think that gives you the structure of the way that Sailor Moon is coming to understand and think about Chibiusa Rini emotionally and as a person, how she's contextualizing, is this a child? Is this a threat? How do I feel about this kid? I think the vulnerability of Rini wetting the bed and then running away because she feels embarrassed about it, and that playing into the way that we're really seeing. I was struck in this episode by how much, especially with Terry Hawk's performance, how much you really see Sailor Moon coming into her own as explicitly a proactive and fierce hero. Like, she is angry when Rubius is like, I'm going to murder this small child. And she's like, over my dead body, Buster. You bring it on. I'm going to dust you is what's going to happen. Like, and that's when you think about where she started at the beginning of the first season, and where that's really starting to blossom is here in season R, even as she is going through so much trauma and pain in her personal life. At the same time, she shows that she is the type of person who rises above her own suffering to be a good person and do what's right. Like, I think that's the trajectory we're seeing her on, and this is such a big episode for that.
Yeah, and it's a trajectory that's going to keep going. Yep.
She only gets more and more. Yeah. I think these are episodes where like you just really appreciate the hero that she is.
Yeah.
It was so that like the natural escalation to like, where does this end? Yeah, God Queen of Space. Okay, and you're like, I'm
yeah. Yep, that's where it's going. Get on the rocket.
It's going. Yep.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Sailor Denzel pointed out we hear Pluto for the first time.
Yep. We hear Pluto. She gets to appear as a little pixelated face in Luna P's eye. What I was gonna do was just read off I took notes in the hotel room on hotel room paper. I was just going to read off some highlights from our notes.
I love it's on hotel room paper.
Because I forgot my notebook. We already mentioned Shut Up, Luna. Already left that note. Getting married at Bunny Church. Love to go to Bunny Church.
Yeah.
The note that just says very bedwetting-centric episode. Of course, an excited note that here's our girl Pluto. Oh, flashing lights warning. There's in the Japanese episode, not in the DiC dub, I don't think. If you're going to watch the Japanese episode, I don't remember where exactly in the episode, but do be aware there's at least, I think it's when she like does her little forehead beam. There's a lot of flashing lights.
That could be, yeah. That sounds about right.
Also, apparently the room took a moment to collectively hate on Rubius.
Wait, really?
He's the worst. He's the worst.
Yeah, I had it on had my computer set up so we could all see it. And everyone was just hanging out in the room, and it was me, Relia, our friend Jillian, and Julia, and we just all took a moment to like
all hate on him.
Fuck this guy.
That's a good thought.
Yep. And I have another that just says Tuxie coming in clutch.
I think he contributed more than usual, because I think that Rubius like shoots his little moon balls at them, and then Tux like chucks back a bunch of different roses at each of the moon balls, taking them out. So I'm like, okay, you did a thing using
He did do
roses.
a thing. He did a couple things this episode.
Before we do, if you were to rate this on a scale from like 1 to 5, how many, so how many stars do you think this is for you?
Which version?
Good call.
I'm going to have to rate high because she's got the power.
Yeah, she's got the power.
I'm going to have to at least give it a 4. She's got the power, such a banger.
She's got powers. It is such a banger.
Yeah.
I think I'll go with you on the 4 because I think that for me, honestly, if they had kept the full structure of the episode with the bedwetting and everything, like I honestly could have given this a 5 in terms of like being in so many ways such a great Sailor Moon episode.
Are we
but
going with a 4 out of 5 rating? Like, I'm like, I gave it a 4, and then Michi's gonna be like, and I give it a B.
No, I give it a 4. I'm with you.
4. All right,
Exactly
all right.
with
So
you.
we
2 out of 5.
Eternal
4 out of
Mooncast,
5?
Bishoujo Senshi Slumber Party gives this episode 4 out of 5
4 out of
stars.
5. The DiC
Yep.
dub, we're giving it 4 out of 5. I would give
Yes,
the
the
Japanese
DiC dub.
episode like a 3.5.
Yeah, because I still think
Yeah.
it's a strong episode, but it does not have a banger of a
Does not
song.
have a banger of a song, and it has a lot of Luna shaming Usagi about the possibility of wetting a bed, a situation that mandates sympathy instead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sailor Denzel was asking, did they cut the Spectre sisters versus the Scouts for the DiC dub? No, that was in there. It doesn't get featured in my summary just because it's mostly visual. They're fighting, and in the meantime, Rubius is attacking Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Ura has an interesting thought. So this is the episode where Usagi starts to show maturity in how she handles Chibiusa. I rated 5 out of 5 for the Japanese. I can see how you would go with look at it like that. And then of
Yeah, I
course
think-
just episode summary. For
Fuck
Rubius.
Rubius.
Rubius, LOL, accurate.
Fuck Rubius.
It could describe several episodes, including episodes that we're going to experience actively in this sequence. That could be our theme for the entire
tonight.
set.
Yeah, that can
Yeah,
be our
fuck Rubius.
thumbnail F with an asterisk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go. Since we were discussing doing thumbnails, fuck Rubius. That's
Yeah, if you see our thumbnails being a little chaotic on YouTube, we're trying to find our groove.
We're working it out.
We're trying to figure out what thumbnail allows our videos to connect to people who would enjoy our videos.
Yes, so if they look a little weird for a little bit, we're working on it.
Yep.
All right, shall we move on to the next episode of Darien being a dick?
Yes.
Oh, let's do it. Oh,
So much. The dickery ahead.
Such a big dick.
Okay, Monica, for episode 69. Nice.
Nice.
What is our Japanese episode title?
Awaken sleeping beauty. Mamoru's distress.
Mamoru's distress. Yeah, it's all about him.
Uh-huh.
All about it.
Michi, what do we got?
Prediction of doom.
Prediction. It's funny. That's like one of the weakest DiC titles I've ever heard, just because like they weren't trying to make it exciting, and they usually do. They try to make it like a hip title of some kind, and I feel like they did not try.
No, it's like they gave up on this one. They're just like doom.
Is there a prediction of doom in the episode?
No!
Amo's dreams are a prediction of doom.
Right.
Oh.
Having his like, right. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Okay.
He's having his Gundam Wing outfit dreams. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So let's get into it. When we start out, Serena is reading Sleeping Beauty to Rini to help Rini fall asleep. Rini is like not into it. Serena's like, no, this is the best book. It's so romantic. And Rini's like, it's so dumb. But she falls asleep listening to it anyway. Meanwhile, also at night, Darien is having dreams about marrying Serena, but then like the wedding explodes. And a disembodied voice in the dream tells him that if he stays with Serena, like misfortune will strike him. Will strike her, will strike everyone. So in the dream, he's like resistant to this. He's like, how do you know? Like, why should I trust you? And blah, blah, blah. I keep having this dream. And the voice is just like, too bad. So there's like a really cool visual. I think it happens at this point in the episode where he wakes up and he's looking at a photograph of him sitting next to Serena. And then like as he's looking at the photograph, the Serena in the photograph just like collapses in his arms. It's very creepy. And then the glass cracks. And he's obviously very haunted by this. It is a really cool visual. I really like it. Anyway, he goes out jogging the next morning. Serena runs into him about jogging, but he strictly just asks about Rini and then runs away. He is hanging out with Andrew, and Andrew tells Darien that he's been looking depressed lately, but Darien doesn't tell him anything. Meanwhile, the girls are discussing Rini, but Serena's busy being depressed about the Darien thing. As they're sitting there talking, Darien pulls up on his motorcycle, like revving his motorcycle, and gets their attention. And he's got a girl sitting with him on the back of the motorcycle. And so Serena asks who that is with him. And he's like, It's none of your business. The girl asks who Serena is, and he says, that's just some girl I know, and drives off. Obviously, Serena cries because he's a jerk. So when we next see Serena, she's at home. It's midnight. She's sitting in front of the fridge eating her feelings because Darien has a new girlfriend and she's crying to Luna about it. Rini overhears this and gets really upset about the idea that Darien has a new girlfriend, and she runs away. The Negamoon detect Rini and attack her again. Serena catches up to them and she also transforms. Luna claws Avery, frees Rini. Meanwhile, the sisters summon a droid that has like a dream theme, and the droid puts Sailor Moon to sleep. The other girls luckily do show up to fight the sisters, and the sisters, they just fuck off. They're not having with that. Mars does exorcise the droid, but Moon is still trapped asleep and is like very quickly getting noticeably weaker. So the girls are very concerned about her. Luna runs off to find Darien, jumps into his house on his crotch. She begs him to come help her, but he resists this until she tells him point blank that Serena is dying. He drives there on his motorcycle. He transforms mid-motorcycle drive, goes to her, clutches her in his arms, and apologizes, kisses her. She wakes up. He's so glad that she woke up. The droid returns. Sailor Moon pushes Tuxedo Mask out of the way. In my note says, Moon pushes Mask out of the way of a shanking with a forehead knife. The droid has like a knife she can pull out of her forehead, and she tries to stab him with it. Sailor Moon saves him. She then dusts the droid, and she expresses that she's very glad that Tuxedo Mask, yeah, that's her, that Tuxedo Mask cares about her. So then he just rejects her yet again. He drives off. But Serena does learn that the girl who was on the motorcycle with him was actually just Andrew's sister, and Darien was just giving her a ride home from work. She expresses that no, she's not interested in Darien. She has a boyfriend her own age, and he's much better than Darien. And so Serena, relieved that Darien does not have a new girlfriend, resolves not to give up. That's the episode.
That's the episode.
That's the episode.
The Japanese episode's basically the same.
Oh, yeah. There were some, like, wacky dream sequences.
Oh yeah, there's a
that were
trippy
cut.
dream sequence. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that I can think of why it was cut, like there's several different sequences where Sailor Moon is like trying to chase Mamoru through the dream sequence, but she's like in a chibi-fied form. And I don't know if the people censoring these episodes were concerned that people would think that this was a child pursuing an adult in a romantic way. Which is clearly not.
Yeah,
but...
like I don't understand. Like the dream sequence is really trippy. So she like turns into a kid. She like has a dream where she's been turned into a kid and she's like running on a road and she can't reach him and she's a child, so she's like metaphorically powerless. Like it's really creepy. Like the trippy dream sequence is genuinely frightening. Like I've also just been cut because it's like genuinely frightening. Like it is nightmare fuel, frankly, that there was a child and a romantic situation, even though it's very clearly a dream. Like it's very clearly a metaphor. There's no, you'd have to really be pushing. There's almost a confession if you're like, I think that's.
Yeah. They cut these, they weren't long sequences, so it's not like they needed to cut them to fit in some other thing. It was just an unusual choice.
Yeah, it was weird. This, once again, the monster whose Japanese name is Akumata, and I'm trying to remember, I did not take very good notes for this episode for the DiC dub.
Hypnotica,
okay. This is once again in Japanese. We've paid a professional to say one word over and over again, except it's not the droid's name. She says the word dream over and over again and then puts people to sleep. So I have a note that says Luna is really putting in the work this episode. I don't remember what that was about.
Yeah, I think because she was the one who actually went to get Darien and was like, no, you son of a bitch, get over yourself and come help.
I also have another note that says Mamo is in maximum twat mode.
Oh,
he is the
really
biggest dick.
He really is. Yeah.
I also have a note that says, "Hey, is that Ms. Patricia Homeroom in the background?"
Yeah, I believe it. Yes.
There's a frame where Mamoru is it Mamoru and Usagi, or is it Mamoru and
Andrew? I think
Andrew are like having a bro date, and Miss Homeroom is in the background, also on what is probably a failed date.
Yeah, it very
You're
much
not
appears to be a failed date that is happening in the background.
Rest in peace, Miss Homeroom.
It's pretty
Yep.
funny.
But
Let's
she
see.
keeps putting herself out there, and we root for her.
Yeah.
We root the heck for her.
There was a moment where I also noted, look at Venus's terribly drawn hand.
Oh boy. Oh, we should do the segment that we did with Ducky and Rizuki that Ducky started.
Smash
Oh,
or pass?
okay.
Slash or
Are we-
Pass Monsters of the Week.
The week. Oh, okay. All right.
So this one was
Yep.
and let me see if I can find any other pictures. This one,
Wikipedia
Same.
logo, smash.
I don't know. Hypnotica, I think is hot.
Yeah, smash.
Yeah,
Smash.
she's
Smash, yeah.
fine. She doesn't particularly do it for me, I think, because I don't know, like the pulling the sword out of her forehead for some reason feels disturbing to me.
That's fair.
That's hot girl. What that horn do?
I fully respect it. There's plenty of times when I would smash with a whack-looking Yoma. For some reason, this one just for me is going the other direction.
This is the hear us out every few episodes.
Yup.
Was
just
there a
two
monster in
smashes
the
and
previous episode? I don't remember. I don't think so.
No, there wasn't.
There wasn't. Okay. All right. No. Rubius
So let's
pass.
talk a little bit first about Rubius hard pass.
Oh,
Let's talk a
Rubius
little
fucking
bit
hard
first
pass.
about, because this is Mamo at his worst, and I think this is where the show is starting to show you why Mamo is being such a dick, and this is where they're asking you to experience pathos for him. I have mixed feelings about that. So what do you guys think about the way the show is setting up the justification for how he's acting, and how does it make you feel?
Now, if I'm remembering correctly, all his freaky visions of like, hey, if you keep this up, she'll die, are from himself from the future, right?
Sure are. Yeah.
So I think that it says, all right, so we have two examples, and I believe that's also accurate to the manga too. So we have two examples of our two main character and the love interests' future selves sending a message to themselves in the past. And one of them is successful, and the other one says, ruin your relationship.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it, really. Like, I'm not sure how... Oh, wait, I did have a note about this. I wrote down, I don't know why he thinks the power of love won't work in the Power of Love Works series.
Literally, the power of love.
Presumably they got to this point. Here's my other thing. This message is coming from King Endymion in the future,
Yeah.
who is the father of Chibiusa,
Yeah.
who was like, you should avoid getting married to or having sexual relations with the mother of our child. Presumably, in doing so, he would be causing his own child to not be born.
He's like, Back to the Future, my kid. Fuck him.
He's like, some sacrifices have to be made.
She's like, she wasn't going to grow up anyway.
She was hundreds of years old and hadn't moved out of the house.
Gotta get rid of her.
Gotta get rid of her. She gotta go. I think we can just admit sometimes it didn't work out. Take a pun on that one.
Azura says, some of the subplot was definitely written by men who don't know what a relationship with women look like.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, to some extent, but it was also to some extent like written by Takeuchi. So
That's true.
Yeah.
In the manga, he doesn't quite do the whole we have to break up thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. It's definitely not that. And maybe let's soon revisit our in the manga just for adding some more context.
I've been wanting to reread the whole thing.
Yeah, because I think my last reread was last year. So
I've had a wild hair up my butt to reread it. Let's reread it together.
Oh, let's totally reread it together. I love that.
Yeah,
for
Julia's
us.
never read it, so I'll make her read through it for the
Even
first
better.
time.
Even better.
Yeah.
We love when we get Julia's fresh reactions to things too, because they're always gold.
They are. I still want to get a little chibi of Julia to edit in.
Yeah.
So Michi, what are your feelings about this Darien plot here? Like,
So when
how
I
do you
was
feel?
when I was a child, I ate it up. I believed him. I was sympathizing. I was empathy. As an adult, I'm like, you're a piece of shit. You're garbage. I hate you. You fuck.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it is a plot that's designed to appeal to 8th graders.
Yeah, and it did.
I was going to say, like, I'm with you there that when I was younger, I was like, oh, yeah, of course, this is a tragic miscommunication. And I do still love a tragic miscommunication. But now that I'm older, I'm like, this is a bad tragic miscommunication because, as Monica so well put it, like, this man has decided he doesn't believe in the power of love in the Power of Love Win series. Like, he's been there, he's experienced it. And for some reason, he's like, I know what would solve all of our problems. Not trusting in the people that I love the most that have always gotten right.
Not doing the thing that is the thesis statement of this whole thing.
And moreover, not communicating with the people that I trust. And I think that's like, there are plenty of tragic miscommunication plots. Again, I love them. They are such crack for me. And there are plenty of them where it works, where you're like, okay, there's a reason why he can't share this information with other people, and therefore there's a reason he's keeping this to himself. That's not the case here. There is no reason why he needs to keep this secret. There isn't. He could confide in anybody. He could particularly confide in Sailor Mercury, who is much smarter than anyone else, and at least be like, I need a second opinion here. Hell, he could confide in Andrew. Even if he doesn't think Andrew could fully understand, Andrew was like, man, you look depressed lately. Are you okay? And he just doesn't. Now, I can buy that as an almost lifelong orphan. He's had to be very emotionally self-sufficient, and that could feed into a difficulty with relying on other people. However, they didn't sell us on that either. And they're certainly not they're not addressing the fact that there's no reason for him to keep this information to himself. So it just feels very douchebaggy instead of feeling justified. So even though they're telling me this is why he's doing this, and I get, okay, yep, you've explained why he's doing it. Why is he doing it like this, though? Because he's being a real dick about it.
Yeah, I think that's the difference.
Ura had a good point. In the manga, he sends encouraging messages and power-ups to his past self. Here, he gaslights his wife.
Damn, Ura, call him out.
That's true.
It's true.
That's what happens.
It's
Call
true.
him
He
the fuck
gaslights his
out.
wife.
He just
Oh my
gaslights his
God,
wife. That's correct.
So true. That is absolutely 100% correct. I just would like to pick this episode up on one more thing, which is that Darien is asleep. He's wearing Hiro Yoi's outfit from Gundam Wing. And so that is explicitly the outfit he's wearing when he's sleeping. Luna comes and tells him, you need to come right now. Sailor Moon is dying at this very moment, and you need to save her. He rushes off to do it. But the next scene we see of him, he's still Darien. He's now riding on his motorcycle, but now he's wearing his pink button-down shirt and his khakis. And then, mid-motorcycle ride, he transforms into Tuxedo Mask.
Yep.
The only thing that we can draw from this is that despite knowing that Sailor Moon was dying, he did not transform directly into Tuxedo Mask and then leave. He changed clothes. He was like, I can't go in my Hiro Yoi pajamas. That would be unseemly. I must put on a nice little pink button down and some khakis at 3 a.m. or whatever, take out my motorcycle, and then transform. So that doesn't feel like an efficient use of his time. And I just feel like he should be taken to task for that.
The transforming on the bike is a pretty sick scene, though.
It absolutely is.
Yeah,
but why did he change clothes first?
I made him feel put together and ready to face the trouble ahead. I brushed my teeth before I did it.
His girlfriend is dying. She's dying. Luna was very explicit about that.
Yeah.
Luna's watching him get dressed.
He has to get dressed and feel prepared emotionally to deal with that.
This boy has not been emotionally prepared
Luna
to do anything.
Jumps in through the window and 100% lands on his balls.
Sure, she sure does. She sure does. 100%.
We had a moment of was that frame cut from the DiC dub? I think it might have been because she
100%
lands on his balls, and that's what wakes him up.
Yep. It is
wow.
It's the best Luna's ever done.
Luna, brutal.
Also, Wingman Luna.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She tries to get them back together. She does jump in and land on his balls. He transforms on the bike. That's pretty sick. And at the end, he sheds one single manly tear.
One tear. Yep.
One single manly tear. Just a terrible character assassination of Mamoru.
Just brutal.
This is not a bad episode, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I feel the exact same. This episode markedly advances the plot. Is very important in the arc of what's happening in this season, and from multiple respects. But I hate it.
Yeah, I think like quality wise, I think I have to give it at least a 3.5. Like, it's not a bad episode. It's a plot forwarding episode. A bunch of important stuff happens, but woof, I give it a 3.5 out of fuck Mamoru.
I guess I'd give it a 2. Because I really like Lizzie was the highlight of the episode for me. Like
Lizzie
that's
was a
saying
delight.
something.
I absolutely love at the end where she's like, I have a boyfriend my own age and he's so much better. Like, just chef's kiss,
Bye-bye.
Lizzie.
Bye-bye.
Chef's kiss.
Everyone in the Andrew family is so well adjusted.
They really are. They really are. I love that for them.
Ura says, I call this a skip. I wouldn't
Yeah.
disagree.
There
are some plot important parts in it, but nothing that you couldn't get reading a summary.
I wouldn't, like, for me, I wouldn't skip it, but I would be prepared to be real mad while watching it.
Watch, but understand that you're not gonna walk away from it happy.
No. So we technically recommend this one?
Recommends with an asterisk.
Yeah, so you're giving it a 2. Monica's giving it a 3.5. I guess I'm also in the 3.5 range because I feel like 3 for me would be a bit low for how plot forwarding and relevant I think this episode is. 3 feels like I'm saying it's mid, and I don't feel that way about it. But I also don't think that it's as strong an episode as the Showdown episode. So I can't give it a 4. I think 3.5 is where I'm going to be at as well. So 2 plus 7
It's not like there's
15.
a rubric for this.
No, but we're coming up with, let's see.
This is quantify your vibes is what this is.
Divided by 3. So we're giving it a 3 out of 5 stars.
That's fair. Darian's a dick, the episode. Done.
He sure is. A 3 out of fuck Darian.
We're
doing
doing
meta math at the slumber party.
We sure are.
Ura also says, I'm so excited to get to S for the Smasher Pass Monster of the Week poll. Oh,
We are coming.
They're particularly gay.
The monsters in S are the best. They are the best of the monsters. Also, thank you, Ikuhara, for all of that weird shit. God bless you. God bless you, you strange person.
Ikuhara was here doing the most for us in the fandom.
All of Ikuhara's work is lesbians are so cool. I wish they were real.
It's so true.
Sailor Denzel also says I give it a fuck Darian out of 5. I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't have anything more to say about that. On that note.
All right. So let's get into some episodes where Rubius takes a turn being the worst.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Japanese episode 70. What's our Japanese title?
Oh, let me check my notes. It is Battle of the Flames of Love, Mars versus Koan.
Okay. Yep. And in DiC?
Enemies No More.
Enemies No More. Also a little bit spoilery.
Yeah.
Oh, a kitty.
Hi, Luna.
Sweet Luna.
Luna.
She just wanted to be part of the show.
You do. You say screw Darian.
Yeah, she's correct. All right, so in this episode, we are once again catching up with Wise Man and Rubius. Wise Man basically tells Rubius he's got to hurry the fuck up. Meanwhile, Chad is out shopping with Ray. While they're out, they run into Katsy, and they vaguely feel like she's familiar. Katsy returns to Rubius, and he just straight up manipulates her like a fuckboy. And she gives him this perfume. She's like, I got you this perfume. I thought of you. And he's like, why would I ever want to wear something so gross and stinky? And he smashes it in his hand, which, if you think it's gross and stinky, is about the worst thing you could do with a bottle of perfume. But that's on him. So Katsy's upset, but Rubius is like, you got to get your shit together and catch Rini. So she goes to the shrine to wait for Rini to show up. Serena is also there. She's at Ray's reading her comic books. And Katsy, as an excuse, basically says that she's shilling for a fake MLM. She's like, I've got makeup I would really like you to try on. And the girls are very interested in the makeup, but while they're there, the three of them get to talking about boyfriends, and Katsy makes it really weird. So then Ray and Serena get weirded out, and they basically are like, sorry, we're not interested in any makeup. Could you please leave? So Kathy leaves. As she's leaving, Rini arrives, and Kathy then attacks her, which is the thing she came to do anyway. But Chad is there. He comes to the rescue and gets attacked. So then Ray shows up and she gets attacked, but Chad takes the hit for her. And Cassie's like, what the fuck? She doesn't even love you. And Ray gets pissed about this and transforms. Mars and Cassie have a fight. Mars takes several hits to protect Chad, and Cassie just she doesn't understand why Mars would do this. Rini shows up again. Tuxedo Mask saves her and then bounces. Rubius then shows up basically to fully berate Cassie. He tells her she's the worst, she's worthless. She's no longer welcome to come back to the room. And all she can do is take this bomb. The best thing she can do is kill herself and take other people out with her. Yeah, he sucks. So Mars doesn't want her to do it. She recognizes that Rubius is the worst. The other girls finally show up. They start attacking Cassie, but Mars jumps in to protect her and tells her not to give up on herself. Sailor Mars asks Sailor Moon to purify Cassie, and Sailor Moon's like, I don't even know if that's a thing that I can do, but she tries using the silver crystal to do it. It works, and Cassie gets a new life as a non-powered citizen.
Woo!
Yay.
And you know what? She's good at it. She goes right to selling makeup.
But this series of episodes in the DiC dub just has some absolutely delightful insults for Rini. They insult her left and right. They call her all kinds of funny little insulting things that are not swear words and are not slurs and are not related to anything else that would offend someone. Like, they're not punching down on anyone else by insulting someone. So if you really need a long list of insults for people that aren't charged in any way, just watch this batch of episodes. You'll have plenty of ways to make fun of someone.
Absolutely.
Call them a spore, a fungus, a worm.
Yep.
They call her all kinds of gross little things. It's great. Don't actually talk to children that way.
No.
Please don't actually call your own children a little fungus. We're all in agreement during our reaction recording that Cassie desperately needs a New York accent.
Yes,
she really does. I'm really disappointed that the DiC dub didn't give her a Molly accent.
I want her to sound like Grand Fine.
Yep, me too. She needs
like
to
I've
sound
said it
like...
before, I'll say it again. Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny. You're perfect for her.
This was an episode Julia enjoyed and yelled at a lot.
Oh, what'd she say?
When we were watching it in the room. So I have a note. Oh, Prince Diamond is mentioned at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, first
mentioned. Prince Diamond mentioned.
Yep.
Really something to be excited about.
Yeah, in case you thought there might be a shortage of shitty men in this season.
God, no.
There are perhaps the most shitty men we will ever see.
Literally.
A significant number of shitty men per capita this season.
Yep.
At least in part because, like, for the rest of it, it's women all the way down.
Yep.
Third arc, that's a lot of women. Fourth arc, that's a lot of women. Fifth arc, almost exclusively women. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, third arc, it's mostly one incredibly shitty dad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just have a note about Rubius that simply says, this fuckboy, period. That's all it says.
Yeah.
Julia said, I understand her, and then, oh, come on, baby, I'm so sorry. Regarding his relationship with Rubius.
Yeah.
I left a note that said, he's so manipulative, girl, dump him.
Yep.
Another note that says, Usagi has read everything but the room. I also have a note that's, Koan tries to infiltrate the temple to get information on the Senshi by pretending to be a cosmetic saleswoman, which works. And I have a note, this stupid disguise is totally going to work, and then it does.
Yep.
Japanese Ray also goes from being a total brat to being really supportive. Like, there's a conversation in the DiC where she's just mean to Usagi, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah,
she's just
totally.
fucking mean. And in Japanese, it's completely different. She starts off being a brat, and then she's like, "Oh, you're really hurting. Okay, here's this."
She's like, "Don't worry, you're gonna get past this. You guys will get back together eventually. You need to trust that will happen." Like, yeah,
I left another note that once again this says, "Koan, dump him." Point Koan just drops out of the air, and my note says, "Where did she come from? Why is she in the air?" And then Julia yelled, "Girl, I get it," which is this time about Koan being mad about her hair.
Oh my god. So is a Koan cosplay in the future, I'm hearing?
Maybe.
Genuinely, that'd be really cute.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
I'll ask her when I get off this call. Let's see, what else did I write down? I can barely read my own handwriting. At the end, they're like, "You can be a normal woman now," and my note just says, "I don't know that Kawan is going to be a normal woman."
No. No.
Yes, in my notes, I specifically wrote Katsuki say New Life as a non-powered citizen.
Yeah,
Not a
they
normal woman.
do in fact say the phrase "normal woman," and
Normal
I'm like, I don't think
woman.
that's
We were
what
both
she's
like-
about to become. No.
Also, Ura brings up an interesting point. The least shitty man in this season is Sapphire, which is
Mhm.
wild because he's
Incredibly
shitty in the
shitty.
manga.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's still not the shittiest man in the manga either. Like, he's still rungs below Diamond, for example. But he's just more like, let's do our evil job and, like, be evil and stuff. He's shittier in the manga, but, like, in the anime, like, they gave him a real glow up, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have another note that says Kawan is like, "Don't dump me, I'm working," which I think has something to do with him interrupting her pretending to be a cosmetic salesman.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Like, she's in the middle of a mission that he told her to go do, and he shows up and is like, "You suck. You can't do anything. Never come home." She's like, "I was in the process of doing the very thing you just asked me to do."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then those were all the highlights from my notes. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoy these series of episodes where they convert the baddies. I do think we've talked about this a little bit before. I do think that converting the baddies and turning them back into regular people or freeing them of the influence of wise man, like, better supports the concept of Sailor Moon herself being a redemptive hero.
Yeah.
Because in the manga, even though she's like that which embraces everything, she's also like, and I will fucking kill you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
But also in the manga, she's not the only person who just explodes people. Like, the other Senshi do get to kill people.
Yeah.
They do destroy villains pretty regularly.
Yeah.
Yes.
In fact, I think Koan gets got by Mars.
Yeah. So obviously
Here are our notes for sure.
an incredible change in this episode where Koan explicitly gets saved by Mars. I think for me, this run of episodes with these redemptions are very interesting because they neither fall into the category of everyone gets redeemed by Sailor Moon because Sailor Moon took a chance on them, nor do they fall into the category of every redemption, it follows a pattern. It's not like, oh, if Katsi gets redeemed by Mars, then each of them will get redeemed by their inner senshi counterpart. It's not like that as either. And I think that I like that aspect of it where they gave each redemption feels like they wanted it to be the right person doing that redemption. And I really like that they didn't just have the person making the emotional connection be Serena, because that feels cheap and it feels like the idea that no one else's contributions really are going to make a difference. It's only ever going to be Sailor Moon who can reach people. I loved that it wasn't just another Senshi doing it. It was Mars, the most hot-headed, like, shoot first, ask questions later Senshi, was like, wow, girl, your man is the most garbage. Maybe you should just dump him and become a good guy, actually. I really like, I don't know, for me, I think this is an incredibly strong episode.
Yeah, I like this episode a lot. And the next one. We'll talk about that later. Like, this episode and the next one I think are my favorites of this set.
This episode's like a solid 4 out of 5 for me.
Yep, I would
Oh,
agree.
perfect.
Like, I'm going to be real picky about what I give 5 stars.
It's not a 5 out of 5, but it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
no, this for me is 4 out of 5.
we're going to try to do a whole panel on our favorite episodes.
We're gonna
Yeah.
hope that somebody says yes.
Yeah, if you can go to Otakon, we have pitched a panel where we're all going to talk about our favorite episodes of Sailor Moon. And you'll get to meet us in person, of course.
Yes.
We got a correct answer. Koan gets got by Moon Princess Halation, like all the Ayakashi sisters. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Ura.
It's been a hot minute since I've read the second arc. Sometimes I don't reread the whole manga. Sometimes I just reread my favorite parts, which are Infinity and Stars, and so I have both of those sort of like committed to memory. And then they're like, "This thing happened in the second season," and I'm like, "I'll take your word
Right.
for it."
I'm like, sure.
The dream arc.
Yeah,
What's
so-
that?
Who remembers what happened there? So we've given this episode, I think we all give this episode a 4 out of 5. I love
Yeah, I
that for
enjoyed
us.
this episode, yeah.
Yeah, this is our fourth, I want to say, redemption in terms of broader Sailor Moon 90s animation Nephra was our first redemption, and that was on Molly. I guess you could say that Tuxedo Mask has also had a redemption from his poisonings, but let's just set him to the side because he has to turn evil before he turns good, and then evil and good, and evil and good, and it's whatever. But so we had first Nephra, which was motivated by Molly and was such a character growth moment then for Sailor Moon. Then we had again Tuxedo Mask, but then we had the aliens, and that was the tree being like, "Hey, could you do me a favor and like use your powers to cleanse them, and then they'll start a new life." This is the first time that she seems to realize that she can use the silver crystal to purify people, and this is where she starts to increasingly become motivated by the idea that there are people that she can bring back to the side of the light. And we start to see that increasingly be an approach that she will take. And I think this really gets the ball rolling on less significant villains getting to be saved too.
Yeah.
Said. All right. So while we wait for Uro, should we get into the next episode, or what do you think?
Yeah, let's get started with this.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, Monica, what's the Japanese episode title for this one?
Okay, let's see. This is For Friendship, Ami and Berthier Clash.
Yep. All right. And Michi?
Checkmate.
Checkmate. That's a good one. All right. So in this episode, Serena and Amy are playing chess. Naturally, Amy kicks Serena's ass. Meanwhile, with the sisters are wondering to themselves, like, why Cassie would purify? Why would she want to be a plain old non-powered citizen? They really don't get it. Birdie is like, yeah, I miss her though. No one else is expressing this sentiment, but Birdie's like, I miss her. Meanwhile, Amy, Serena, and Lita go to a nearby chess club where there's going to be a tournament, and Amy's going to enter the tournament. While they're there, they encounter Birdie wearing the single cutest outfit, and she basically sasses them. We talk a lot about the DiC smack talk being very good, but the smack talk that Birdie lays down in this episode is absolutely phenomenal. They have a conversation, and one of them expresses like, it's possible that like I might not win and blah blah blah, and then Birdie basically is like, wow, it must suck to have to worry about not being good enough to win at things. Like,
yeah. Oh my god.
Whatever it is she says, it is so flawlessly just like beastly. I love it so much. And while she is also busy being amazingly dressed. Birdie, while she's there, starts corrupting the chess tournament because she knows that this is a crystal point and this is the next mission she's been given. But Amy sees her and interrupts her doing it. So Birdie attacks her. Amy is left with no choice but to transform right in front of her. Jupiter then shows up with Sailor Moon to help, and Birdie flees, but Mercury is worried because Birdie now knows her normal identity. So Birdie goes back to the base, but while she's there, her sisters bully her. They're like, what'd you do, fail the mission? You didn't succeed at the mission, did you? You must suck. Meanwhile, the girls come to cheer Amy on when she competes into the tournament, but Birdie has also entered the tournament, and she and Birdie both do well. They end up having to go up against each other in the finals. Birdie busts out these special chess pieces that are also legitimately gorgeous that she wants to use, but even with the special chess pieces, Amy gets the upper hand. So then Birdie decides to make this magical, and she incorporates some unfair magic into the experience. But now that things have gotten serious, the girls all transform, and Birdie traps all of them except for Mercury in a giant bubble in the air and makes Mercury play like special evil chess.
Classic
Every time
trapping strat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. Every time that Mercury loses a piece, another part of her becomes frozen, and the game is also rigged. But Mercury keeps playing, and Birdie does not understand Mercury's willingness to basically sacrifice herself for her friends. She does not get why Mercury would keep playing, knowing that continuing to play is killing her. Tuxedo Mask shows up. He frees the squad from the bubble and he fucks off. Birdie's sisters show up. They also tell her not to come back. So at this point, having been shunned by everybody, she's now prepared to freeze herself to death and never have to deal with emotions again. But Kathy, who was also there to cheer on Amy, tries to stop her and reaches out to her with compassion, and Birdie lets herself be saved. The two sisters reunite. Sailor Moon purifies her, and then in the end, Birdie and Kathy, who are now non-powered citizens, not normal, play
Not
chess,
normal women.
and adorably Birdie cheats at chess, but she gets caught. They have a laugh about it, and that's the episode.
She doesn't get caught eating her pieces, which would have been pretty funny.
Oh,
That
it would
would
have been so
have
good.
been. Oh my
It would have been
god.
so good.
And can we have some applause for the fit? Because Birdie
Oh my
was
god,
eating.
can we? Like, it's
Spectacular.
just, she ate, she left no crumbs, we licked the plate. Like
the hat, the
It's-
necklace, just
it's
everything.
so good. She's consistently a really well-dressed character in all of her, like, human incarnations, but this is a matchless outfit.
Yes. And then, yeah, the fit, as Sailor Denzel says. 10 out of 10,
Also-
no notes.
Lady Chapel Cosplay asked us what our favorite is from this set of episodes. I think it might be this one for me.
I think it's this one for me. Twin.
Yeah,
Which is
it
well,
might be this
maybe.
one for me, or
Triplet.
Oh,
I don't know. I think
consensus.
the Ray episode is also really strong for me.
Yeah, it's
That's hard.
between these two, but I adore this episode, and I have
Yeah.
a bunch of nostalgia for it. But I think maybe we should save our thoughts for the end of the.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think this one is a strong contender for me out of this set. This is an unexpectedly hard crop to choose from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this episode, what thoughts do people have on? First of all, Monica, do you have any notes on
Yeah,
our watch of the Japanese version?
I have a note from when we watched the DiC dub that says genuinely thought Rubius was going to say bitches, and I don't remember what that was about. It's my first note, so it had to have been at the top of the episode.
It had to be a
Mhm.
hello bitches moment.
Yeah, I think he said sisters, and I was just like, I swear to God, he was just going to be like, bitches. Bitches, attend me.
He's like,
Oh
oh,
my
you
God.
stupid sisters.
Yeah. In the we also have a bunch of the Sailor Senshi just straight up breaking the masquerade, where they like transform in front of everybody, like
Yep.
on the street. Mars did it last episode. Ami does it in this episode. She just transforms right at the chess tournament. Fuck a
Yep.
secret identity.
Yep.
One of my notes from watching the DiC dub says she turned human and lost her drip,
Yeah,
which I think
it's
was
true.
about.
It's true.
Yeah. Let's see. It's called just the place they go to is literally just called Chess Tower, and I said that does sound like a real place.
Yeah.
Someone would name a
Amazingly it
landmark
does.
just fucking Chess Tower.
Tower.
Like that sounds
Yeah.
real. What is? I can't read my own handwriting. Oh, the Calaveras and Pets are just like, let's just steal credit. She's just like,
Yeah.
hey, here's an idea. Let's not and just steal the credit.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I loved at the end the reunion, or was that next episode of
I
Birdie
think
and
that's next episode.
Birdie and Cone?
They do have a reunion at the end of this episode. They reunite. Katsy is the one who saves her, and then they play chess together, and Birdie cheats. It's very
Oh,
cute.
yeah. Let's see. What are my other notes? Of course, we all commented on Birdie's excellent outfit. I enjoyed, quote, the little chess man is happy that Ami made friends. That's what my notes
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
I do like when shows aimed at a teenage audience go out of their way to portray adults as kind and sympathetic. I think a lot of teenage media is never listen to the adults in your life. Fuck your stupid parents. And it's like, maybe fuck your stupid parents. I had parents that I felt that way about, and I was justified in thinking that, just to be clear. And but like there were definitely other adults in my life who were not fuck my stupid parents who I did listen to my betterment. And I just think teen media showing someone who's not your parents caring for teenage characters is really important, because sometimes fuck your parents and you need that parental adult support elsewhere. And that's my soapbox. Anyway,
Yeah, so to give some context to that for people who maybe didn't watch this episode and are just watching our review of
review.
it, what I cut out of my summary is that Amy has this older man who basically owns Chess Tower, who knew her when she was a child and got into chess. And she never had friends back then, and he always hoped that she would make friends. And so when she shows up to compete at the chess tournament, she plays a game of chess with him. She talks about how she's made friends now, and he's just so fucking happy for her that she's got good friends now. So yeah, it gives a lot of context to this as an Amy episode that I did cut out of my summary, but yeah, he is there.
Yeah.
That's the little chess man. That
Yeah,
Monica was
yes,
referring to.
sorry. He's also the owner of Chess Tower. And as Ura points out, this episode starts a trend of Ami and significantly older men. The chess man, the Rose Mansion gentleman from S, the music composer from Super S, and the astronomer from Stars. She was just one of those like little kids who just went around being friends with all the old people.
Yeah, so she also, we can go back to season 1, I believe it was, when the garden was being demolished. And she got attached to the gardener from
the gardener
that
too. Yeah,
episode.
She's just the
So,
kind
yeah,
of kid
she
who's
just-
nice to old people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Was this the one with the new animation team where the eyes were very expressive? This was, I believe this is in fact the episode where we were all like, what is this animation team? This is no animation team that has touched any episode from
Big
here
eyes.
for prior to this. Yes, this was distinctly a separate animation team. At times, some of the characters were far off model, but the eyes were very distinctive.
Oh yes, one of my other notes says we're so evil and off model.
Yes,
That's
yes,
this
they are.
episode.
We're so evil and off model. Classic move, trapping everyone in a bubble.
Yep.
A+ villain playbook technique. And Mars, rising to the occasion, will never not shoot fire into an enclosed space.
Yep, I left it out of my summer, but the entire time when I was thinking about them being in the bubble, I was like, and of course, Mars definitely shot off fire,
Shoots fire
which
into
ping-ponged around the bubble,
Yep,
and everyone
yeah.
was upset.
There will never be an opportunity through this entire series where Mars will be trapped in a classic villain bubble and not try to shoot her way out of it.
Truth.
The moment between Koan and Berthier is really great. Also, Julia said, quote, "Frozen could never."
It's true though. There is that parallel is so there, and obviously Sailor Moon did it first. Yeah, this is women saving women. This is sisters saving sisters. This is a hurt person saving a hurt person, and I love that so much. Like, I think this episode is so special to see Katsy saving Berthier when they were both on the verge of like ending it all, like within one episode of each other. And it genuinely feels really good that they weren't like, Amy should have this moment, just like Ray got the moment last episode. They were like, no, her sister is here. Her sister is the one who's going to reach her if anyone can, not this girl that she played sexy chess with.
They do really play sexy chess, too.
They do. The outfits, the chess pieces, the questionably kinky scenario for the chess, it's all a thing.
Sorry, questionably kinky scenario.
I mean, they had to get bondage in there somewhere.
Oh no, I'm slowly being frozen.
No, I can't
sure
move. What will happen to me? Yeah.
Someone in the writer's room, it was their kink.
That's a lot of this.
Yeah. But we know the animation teams there's just several of them that all have their own motives, let's just say.
Maybe these are new animation teams that we're seeing, because
This one is certainly a different animation team from the others. Masahiro Ando was the art director for this episode. He's best known for the super off-model pseudo-chibi art style. Yep, they are indeed super off-model.
So we actually have
noted. Everyone is so evil and off-model.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, Ura,
Thank
for
you.
looking it up.
Yep. All right. I don't think we have a smash or pass for this episode because there's no
monster.
Again, there's no monster. These are two important of episodes to throw a monster in there. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Did we rate the last one? Yeah, we gave it a 4 out of 5, right?
We did. We gave last one a 4 out of 5. So we have to rate this episode now. How do we feel about this episode?
Like I said, I adore this episode. I love this. Is this? I'm saving my 5s for. Is this one of my favorite episodes of Sailor Moon? And I'm like, I don't know that it is. Like, because there's 200 episodes, and we're gonna hear a lot of this is a 5 for me in S, because I think where I fall in the spectrum of what I like about the series as a body of work. I think S is the best part of the anime, but I think Stars is the best part of the manga.
Yeah.
I can't give this episode a 5 out of 5. If nothing else, despite like how killer Birdie's outfits are, I cannot give an episode that is this badly animated a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I think it earns another solid 4. Maybe a 4.25. Maybe I
Yeah, like a
edged out the other ones
4.25.
a little bit
I
more.
like 4.25. I
Yeah,
like it.
sure.
4
I'm
with
glad.
something
I'm so
extra.
glad. I'm so glad we're giving quarter points for the vibes being a little better.
Yeah. It's like 4 stars with a little wink.
Yeah. Let's see. Do I have anything else to say about this? I don't think I do. I just like this episode. I think it's a good episode. It's a good character episode for Ami. We have another villain redemption, which we just talked about that being really excellent. It tells us a little bit of something about the world, like we learn about this chess tower, which may even be based in a real place. I don't know. I'm making that up.
It could easily be. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, one of my other notes from a previous episode said I'd really love to go to the Juban district and see some of these real places, like because a bunch of them are just based on real shit.
Just real places.
Yep.
So I think a thing that's interesting about this episode and the previous episode, and to the best of my recollection, the episode after it as well, though less, is that these episodes are the opposite of Sailor Moon forward. These are sort of Sailor Moon backward in terms of like she's barely present in these episodes. She is incidentally in the vicinity so that she can contribute a purification, but she is otherwise basically a non-presence in terms of what transpires in the episode and who are the major instigators of change within the course of either of these episodes. Like the previous episode, Mars is the one doing all of the lifting on the good guy team, and obviously like Katsy and Rubius going through it on the evil team. And in this episode, it's Mercury, it's Birdie, it's Katsy. Like they're the ones who have solved the entire episode. Sailor Moon is just also there.
Yeah, or I just asked how did DiC handle Usagi's cheering during the chess tournament with her very Japanese fans? I believe this is one of the cases where that's just left the fuck in.
Yeah, I think they just
I'm
left
pretty
it
sure they
in.
just left it. It just has Japanese fans for some reason.
Yep.
A lot of the times they just cut those frames because God forbid we show the Japanese flag in a show that takes place in Japan. God forbid we let our American and Canadian audience understand that another country exists. The 90s and today.
Maybe they were just like, yeah, people will just think it's a polka dot fan. Great.
I don't know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that frame is just still there. I think they just left that in.
Yeah, I don't recall otherwise.
Yeah.
Also, it sounds like the big eyes will be a warning because Ura says Ando episodes have a lot of fan service and panty shots.
Great. Just what we wanted in our children's series. All right, so shall we talk about the last of the 5 DiC episodes that we're talking about this week?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right, so what's our Japanese title for this one?
Our Japanese title is Cold-Hearted Rubius, the 4 Sisters of Sorrow.
Shitty Rubius, the 4 Sisters of Sorrow.
Just the worst, man.
Just terrible. And our DiC title?
Sibling Rivalry.
I like Sibling Rivalry.
Yeah,
That's
short and sweet, makes sense.
Yep.
Gets to the point.
Yep. It's punchy. It's on topic. All right, so we open. The squad are all hanging out at Ray's temple making baked yams. Prisma and not Prisma, Birdie and Katsy are there as well, also enjoying baked yams. Although I believe in DiC they're not. They may not be baked yams.
They just don't address it if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah,
I
think it's just
they're obviously making baked yams, but it's just not brought up. I know there's a big difference between these two scenes, which I guess I'll bring up when we get to the.
Yep. All right. So meanwhile, Wise Man tells Rubius, like, you're losing your underlings. You got to go get those underlings back. What happened, buddy? And so Rubius is like, oh shit, I shouldn't mention that I fired my underlings and tried to get them to like explode themselves. Okay, I'll get them back. So he sends the other sisters to it because no matter how dire things get, Rubius just doesn't do things himself. Instead, he gives Prisma a special wand that will like amplify her powers tenfold. He sends them to get the other girls back. So Prisma and Avery attack Katsy and Birdie, and the other girls go to help. Secretly, Rini watches the girls henshin and realizes that the girls are actually the Sailor Scouts. Birdie and Katsy try like emotionally appealing to their sisters, but Prisma and Avery are not interested. So the girls arrive and attack. Mercury uses her analytical powers to notice that the sisters are kicking their asses because of Prisma's special evil wand. So Katsy and Birdie once again try to reach out to them, but Prisma attacks them and attacks Avery too, because she's like, I have this wand now. I don't need anybody, including my dumb sisters. Avery is incredibly upset about this and just like collapses. Sailor Moon offers to help her, but Avery says, then you have to help my sister Prisma too. So they knock the wand away from Prisma, but Rubius then appears and is like, wow, you all suck and you're all fired, and I'm going to blow up this wand. Because he just can't manage to like his underlings for a second. Prisma tries to destroy the wand, but instead she gets sucked into the black hole that it's now creating. But instead of her getting sucked in, Avery then catches her with her whip, and all three of her sisters pull her free of getting sucked out of the black hole. Everyone is at risk of getting sucked into the black hole, so the scouts realize that they need to go into the black hole in order to destroy it. They go in. While they're in there, they use Sailor Planet power. It blows up the wand, and everybody returns to reality. Sailor Moon then purifies Prisma and Avery. Rubius gets big mad and punches a mirror, but no one cares. And then the sisters start an MLM.
The end.
Then the
And that's the
sisters
episode.
start an MLM. Oh man. So there's when they're eating yams, which are very visibly yams. Also,
Mhm.
once again, Canadians and Americans have no idea what a yam is, obviously. We've never heard of a sweet potato.
No.
There's a whole bit about like don't eat too many of the sweet potatoes, Usagi, or you'll rip a fart. There's a whole bit of like you'll fart if you eat too many yams, and then she's like, I don't fucking care, and then rips one, and everyone is like, oh my god.
Yep.
Disgusting. Completely left out of the DiC dub. And frankly, I love girls being gross. And
Same.
I just think that they should have left that in. Girls fart and then make fun of each other. That is absolutely a thing that happens.
Absolutely do. And she didn't care. She was getting those yams.
No, she was getting those yams. She was like, fuck it. You're gonna have to do this. That's a you
She was
problem,
like,
not
that
a
sounds
me
like a you
problem.
problem.
Yep. Queen
And I
shit.
see we got a visitor.
Yeah.
Yes,
a
Lando
friend.
decided to join the episode.
A friendo.
Yeah. What do you
We love
think?
him.
Is Rubius the worst man? He thinks Rubius is the worst
Yeah,
man.
yep.
He's correct.
He is correct. Laura says this is probably the weakest of the redemption plots. I agree.
I hard agree. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if there's a justification for where the staff comes from. Rubius is just like, have a crystal.
Just has it. He's just
Yeah.
like, here's this
I
powerful weapon that I never bothered giving anyone before.
Yeah, we've got an evil scepter, also a classic move.
I'll say this one picture made me laugh that I used for part of our thumbnail because look at the placement of Artemis.
Oh yeah, he's
No,
just
he-
latched onto Venus's butt.
Yep.
Like, I don't, but what's funny is I was like, was that an animation error? Because at first I couldn't tell it was Artemis.
Yeah,
no,
no,
he's
that's just
definitely
Artemis.
purposefully drawn on her butt, for sure.
On her butt. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, but they're so cute.
Important for our viewers to know that each of the girls is hanging on to their own cord of the bridge, except for Mercury, who's being held by Jupiter, who's holding them both.
Gay.
Gay.
Yep, it's delightful.
Let's see. The word they use to refer to the wand in Japanese is stick, which does make a lot of the discussion about her evil wand very funny
Mhm.
to listen to. Also, in the DiC dub, they say Kawan is the oldest. That is not true.
Yeah, it's the opposite of true.
Yeah, that is completely false. Kawan is the youngest.
Yeah,
Um,
we had so confused.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I have a note that says, "Yeah, me too, girl. I've also eaten fried food and ripped a big one in front of all my homies." Hashtag relatable.
Yeah. That's our girl.
Yep. There was a brief room detour discussing how Jadeite is better than Rubius.
Yeah, which
We rank-
is incredible for Jedi to outrank anybody.
Yeah.
But that's
The discussion was
bad.
very clear that they are the bottom two, and the Jadeite is above Rubius. We're ranking all the men from best to worst. They're the bottom two, and Rubius is at the bottom.
He's just at the bottom. He's just awful. He's just an awful man.
Below the bar.
Those were like all my major notes. Let's see if I have anything else. Oh yeah, we were also thoroughly entertained by the fact that Calaveras has a completely normal whip.
Yeah, like all of the other girls have a magical power, and it is basically a magical power that mirrors the magical power of the Senshi that they correspond to. So, like, Katsi has this blue-green fire that she shoots. Birdie has ice powers. Prisma has basically black lightning. And then Avery literally just has an actual whip.
Just
It is
stretch
not
some-
not a magic whip. It's not created through magic. It's just a whip that she
whip.
has.
Yeah,
So it corresponds to the Venus Love Me chain, but it's not magical. It's just
not
a whip.
magical. Nope.
Just a thing she has.
There's also a strobing lights warning episode for this episode too.
Yeah.
There were some really good lines in the DiC dub that I wrote down. Rubius describes the sisters as quoting fighting like scorpions, which is great. Like that's a very evocative phrase. And at some point, one of them says, "I'll bet my wardrobe," and the other one responds, "Are you insane?"
Yes, it's such good delivery.
So good. Oh, I love them. I love them.
We also agreed while watching the dub that Avery is a cute name and a better name than Calaveras.
Yeah, we like it. We like her.
Yeah. Also, Ura says dark fire, dark water, dark thunder, leather whip.
Leather whip. Leather whip.
Make it make sense.
Sailor Denzel asks us, what do you think of the battle being on the bridge? I love it. It was pretty cool.
It was
I think it made for a really dramatic setting for a battle, because obviously anytime you take a battle and you add an element of threat that just ambiently comes from the environment, this idea that like if at any point the bridge breaks, they are in a new level of danger, that inherently makes the whole battle more interesting. Even if that never happens, the notion that it could happen exists within you.
It also grounds it in reality a little bit. Like,
yes,
you obviously we're here for the superhero antics, and then you're like, oh, there's a real world consequence if this goes poorly.
Ooh.
And it gives some variety from the fact that like they can't always have epic battles on a random construction site. And they've done that several times.
Yes.
Or the DBZ thing of, we'll go have this battle a million miles away, but it's right over there. Yeah.
Ura also brought up, oh shit, this is the last episode before DiC stopped dubbing because of some bullshit syndication rules, and the rest of R is the lost episodes.
That's correct. This is the last episode before the infamous multi-year break between episodes where we had to fight to save our sailors and somehow managed to convince people with money to bring back some Sailor Moon for us. For me, I think the standout of this episode is the part where Prisma almost gets sucked into the black hole and then like gets caught by Avery's whip, even though Prisma was the one who just like attacked Avery out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
And then it's Avery and Cassie and Birdie. And Cassie and Birdie, by this point, they're just regular humans, and they're all pulling together to save their sister. It makes for such a successfully emotional moment that, again, Sailor Scouts are not part of. And I think it really clinches, it really makes this series of redemptions successful, even when this one is a relatively weaker episode than the previous two.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Oh yes, plus we get Sailor Planet Attack.
Yeah, we get Sailor Planet Attack.
Yeah.
I do also have a note that just says, fuck yeah, Sailor Planet Attack.
They don't use it that often, and they should, and it's epic every time they do.
Yeah. And then other thing that Ura brought up was this means the last episode we're going to hear Katie Griffin as Sailor Mars until we come back to S when everybody else is recast.
Yeah,
So
I
that'll
mean,
be
we have so much love for this particular set of DiC voices, and going forward, any time that we spend without any of them is going to be interesting, but also sad. Like, they are, like I said, their performances are so strong, so full of heart, so distinctive. And like, I will miss that going forward.
Yeah, this rewatch has turned me around on it, because I used to think the voice acting was bad, but now that I've watched a lot of it in succession and it's not just in the recesses of my memory, the voice acting is pretty good.
The script.
Is dog shit.
Yes, that is exactly it. So many times those actors are fighting for their lives to make a
They
line
are.
work.
Oh my
Ugh.
god, they're fighting for their lives so hard, and it's an uphill struggle for them. God bless them. Yeah, it's campy.
Yes.
very
It's
campy.
not that it's campy.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of even the non-dubbed Sailor Moon. Like Sailor Moon is camp. That's why gay people like
Right,
it.
and I think that I don't think it's a problem for it to be campy because they are all rowing in the same direction as far as that. It's not like one character is putting a really campy performance and everyone else is like playing it straight. Because they're all on that same campy level, it's successful.
Yeah. There is no one queer culture incorrect. All gay people like Sailor Moon.
Yes, true. That's true.
Lady Chapel Cosplay asked, do you like the sub or dub of these particular episodes? I'm always a subtitle person.
Yeah, I have so much love for the DiC dub. There are certain aspects of it that I think are so incredibly strong, but I think that these episodes are examples of times when I think things of value were lost in the localization, whether it was the context of the bedwetting episode or the scene with Ray and Serena and Kathy that is very harsh and misleading, that is completely different in the Japanese version. Like, there are legitimately things that are lost. While I try to go into these episodes to find all of the things that I can appreciate about the DiC dub, nonetheless, for me, like, there are things that were just unquestionably taken from us in when this was censored for DiC.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Like, unfortunately, I think if you're watching the DiC dub, you are missing a lot of what's going on. And
Yeah.
sometimes the things that you're missing aren't that big a deal.
Yeah.
Like, there are if you go back through our back catalog of episodes where we talk and review about this sort of thing, we do talk about episodes where it's like the DiC dub cut this part and that's fine.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we did.
There's a handful of episodes where the DiC dub cut a bunch of stuff and it's like it made it better actually. It went on too long
I'm
otherwise.
like Ray's grandpa. They have really taken out a lot of things that I did not want presented about Ray's grandpa. And I was great with that decision, DiC.
And
Thank
it
you.
makes so much more sense why I had such like a rosy remembrance of Chad and Grandpa, and you had like such hatred of them. Where I'm like, I love Chad. You're like, hey, no, and I'm like, but Chad's great. And now you understand why I think Chad is great.
Yep.
They also asked, have you listened to other languages besides Japanese and English? No, I haven't, actually.
I've not.
I'm
It would be
not.
so interesting to. We just don't have them.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
don't.
The only reason we have this one is because I kept my DVDs when I was a child.
I'm not sure if the files that I have other languages on them, but like I have certainly encountered people who had like the Spanish language version, where the European censorship in like the Spanish language version or the German one or whatever, and the French one were very different, is my understanding. I understand Spanish, so I should try to see if I can find like the Sailor Moon Spanish dub. That would be fun.
It would be. I think it would be so interesting if we could find like an episode in a bunch of different languages and then watch them all and see how do we feel. Like, do we feel like the voices felt like they matched the characters? Does it seem like they changed a lot in editing or no? Like, it'd be interesting at some point to do a big comparison like that.
I think our friend Rizuki might have also watched the Spanish dub. We should ask her.
Entirely possible.
Yeah.
She does speak Spanish.
And I think Ura is right. The Latin American Spanish version, to my understanding, didn't censor shit.
Okay, cool.
Nice. Love that for them. We didn't rate this one out of 5 though.
Oh, you're right. We got to rate it.
Okay. That's another 3.5 for me, I think.
I was actually going to go 3.5. Yep.
Yeah, that's fair. 3.5.
It's not on the same level as the other 2 Redemption episodes. It's a little more important. It's mid, but it's important and relevant. So I have to give it a little extra for that. Okay, we give this one 3.5 stars.
Yes.
But on the whole, this pack of episodes, that is a consistently high rating for a set of 5 DiC episodes. We usually have some real clunkers in a batch, and this was 5 episodes that all like actively moved the plot forward and had things of value in them.
Yeah, which does lead us to our last episode.
The one
Which-
that did not
the one
move
that
things
did
forward
not-
or have value.
No, the one that wasn't in the DiC dub and maybe should have been.
Amazingly. So let's talk about Japanese episode 67. Monica, do you have the title for this wild ride of an episode?
Yeah, it is Ocean, Island, Vacation, The Soldier's Day Off.
That really is burying the lead, let's just say.
Truly.
They have buried it deep. Okay. So let me try and describe this episode. Now, keep in mind, my summary of this episode is a little bit probably choppy and short. And the reason is because this episode stinks. And so trying to stay tuned in for this entire episode and take notes on it was a torture. But here we go. So we start off the episode. Makoto, Mina, and Usagi are all, it's like a very hot day out, and they're climbing up to Rei's temple. They get all the way up there in the heat, only to find that Rei isn't there. Chibiusa is there, and Chibiusa says, yeah, Rei went to the beach. The girls, who again are overheating, get incredibly jealous that Rei went to the beach and they're not at the beach, and they decide they're just going to go join her without permission. They show up. Rei is incredibly confused by their appearance because Rei's supposed to be training. And by the way, when I say they show up, all of the girls show up. They also somehow convinced Ami to come on this trip. Presumably they lied to her. So Usagi explains to Rei that they came because Chibiusa was lonely with Rei gone. Chibiusa missed Rei. Rei miraculously buys this, and so Rei and Chibiusa have some fun together on the beach. And then at one point, Rei makes fish for them to eat, and Chibiusa doesn't want to eat the fish, but Rei tells her to eat it anyway. Chibiusa gets mad and throws a tantrum about this, and then goes off to angrily float in the water on her little inner tube. While she's in there, something scares her and she falls out of her inner tube, but then a baby sea monster saves her from drowning. So the girls notice that she's missing, and they commandeer a yacht from somewhere and go look for her. Makoto drives the yacht because that's a thing she can do. Meanwhile, the baby sea monster has taken Chibiusa to a nearby volcanic island. It has gotten injured in the process. Chibiusa then treats its injury because it saved her. Chibiusa decides that she thinks that it saved her because it thought that Chibiusa was its mother. So they're there till late at night. Late at night, the mom then comes back and takes the baby with it. And Chibiusa's upset because she's left alone. Then the sea monster comes back with its mom. And then the volcano on the island erupts. The girls, who are still on the yacht at this time, transform because the volcano is erupting. In the eruption, Chibiusa and the sea monsters all get trapped under the rubble of the eruption. The Senshi show up and use their attacks to slow the lava. Sailor Moon uses Moon Princess Halation to explode some boulders and free the dinosaurs/sea monsters before the lava can get them. They're freed. The humans leave on the yacht, and they see the sea monster swimming off as they go, and that's the episode.
Hell?
I
the
cannot
episode.
stress enough how much the monster of the week this week is a literal volcano.
It's a volcano. And they prevent the volcano from killing people by attacking it with their magic powers.
Fire
Yeah.
equals fire.
Yeah, Rei shooting fire into it works.
Yeah. Everyone knows that when you're dealing with volcanic lava flow, a way to slow it down is to apply more fire to the problem.
I said this really felt like the players showed up for game this week, and the GM was like, I don't have any ideas. Okay, so there's a dinosaur in the ocean. You find a dinosaur. Yeah, okay. And then the volcano explodes. And then what? And they're like, can we stop the lava flow? And the GM's like, yeah. And they're like, can we stop it by attacking? Because we don't have anything else to use. There's nothing else in our toolbox. The GM's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Sure.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Sure. Why
Yeah.
not?
You shoot lightning at the lava.
Sure.
Great idea.
Sailor
Smash.
Moon.
Smash or
Smash or smash.
Smash.
I said that for the Wikipedia
As
logo.
The dinosaurs, but smash on the volcano.
Agreed. Okay. Oh my god. But I do like Sailor Denzel said this episode is awful, but I do like seeing the girls use their powers practically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that part cool. If it has one redeeming quality, it's that one. And so for that point alone, I'll give it a 1 out of 5.
1 out of 5
You're
sounds great.
so generous. You're so generous in this episode. Like, what was the emotional arc of this episode?
The Chibi Yusuf found a dinosaur.
Uh-huh.
And
what lesson did she learn?
She learned that she found a dinosaur. He bringed her fish. I do have a note that says that specifically. He bringed her fish.
Bringed her fish. So she was fine with the fish when the dinosaur brought it to her, but when Ray tried to feed her cooked fish, she was like, "Oh, absolutely not."
You can attack the lava.
You can attack the lava. That's what we learned.
Yeah. I have a note that just says, "Don't ask me. I also don't know." Lady Chapel gives this a 0.5 out of 5.
You know what I will give it a 0.5 out of 5 for? The part where they just get a yacht out of nowhere and Makoto can drive it.
Makoto can drive it, yeah.
It's literally, they're just suddenly on a yacht. It's never explained again. Like, you don't see them commandeer it. They don't go to a place and take a yacht. Just all of a sudden, they are on a yacht and Makoto is driving it.
Yeah.
That is so wild.
She was the person who had the skills on the character sheet that would allow her to do that.
Yeah.
That's why she's driving. No other reason.
No other reason. Yep. Like, if this was an all Senshi episode, of course they have a yacht because Haruka and Michi own a yacht, and of course Haruka can drive it. Like, this is without question. In fact, it's a seafaring vehicle. Michiru can probably also drive it.
Just to be really clear, this is the stupidest looking dinosaur.
Oh.
It is the dopiest looking thing you have ever seen. And Mom, not much better looking.
No.
This does remind me of the Monster Hotel episode, but I liked the Monster Hotel episode.
Yeah, the Monster Hotel episode had an arc. It had some pathos.
Yeah.
It was charming. And then there was
this fucking thing. I have a note that
said
I would have liked a DiC dub version of this, honestly, though they would have made it about bullying Serena somehow.
Yeah, they would have. Yeah, they would have found a way.
I do like that the inciting incident for this is that Ray is like, I'm going to go out onto this island to like cleanse myself spiritually. Going on a retreat. I'm like, I'm gonna go do this as a religious practice. And her friends are like, okay, but you're on an island, so we think we're entitled to interrupt your religious retreat. They drop in on her and she's like,
you went to the beach? We could go to the beach. It's so hot out.
She's like, I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to like cleanse myself and be closer to the world or whatever, to engage in spiritual practice. And they're like, no, fuck that. Go to the beach. And she's like, you know what? Enlightenment can wait.
Yep.
She's not a Buddhist, but enlightenment can wait.
They emotionally guilt her. They lie. They're like, Chibiusa really missed you. She was so sad without you. And then Ray's like, okay, I guess I gotta spend some time with Chibiusa. And then proceeds to.
Yeah. We also described the dinosaur as looking like a pool toy.
It does.
Interesting.
It does look like a pool toy. Let's see. What other dumb shit happens in this? Oh, there's a full team transformation sequence.
Yeah.
This is the least important full team transformation sequence. And I have a note that's like, oh, I guess we really needed to pad this episode out, didn't we?
They had some time to kill.
We're a full 3-minute sequence of everyone transforming, uncut. We're listening to the transformation scene the entire time. Like,
it's looping.
Yep. We're out of storylines. Let's have everyone transform, and we are going to play the entire reprinted animation for every single attack against literal lava.
Against lava.
Against lava.
It is the most episode that an episode has ever been.
Sure is an episode. Do we recommend it? God, no.
God, no. It does
This
not
one.
sound good.
Bishoujo Senshi Slumber Party says, skip this one.
Please skip it. Like, if our description of it made it sound so wild that you're desperately curious and you have to see it, no, it's not. It is simultaneously also profoundly boring.
It's frankly really boring. Like, I was struggling to pay attention long enough to make notes. Frankly, this episode is not good. I can't stress enough that this does feel like Squishy Cat. We were in the dealer room at Katsucon, and there was this stand that just said Squishy Cat, and there was a thing that looked like a flocked statuette. And I reached over to touch it because it looked like a flocked statuette, but it said it was squishy. And so I was like, oh, what's this going to be? And it was the worst texture I've ever experienced.
Oh
And
no.
I went, don't touch that. That's awful. And of course, because I said, don't touch, that's awful, it made everyone really curious. And you were like, should I? And I said, it might have been a personal, like, could just be the autism, like, Julia hates the feeling of lenticular hollow, and I don't mind that, right? It could be just me. And then you touched it, and we're like, no! And then went back in for 2 more squishes.
So upsetting. It was so upsetting that, like, my brain couldn't process the first squish.
And our visceral reaction to touching the squishy cat made 2 strangers do it too.
That's hilarious.
So, like,
So
if
upsetting.
me saying, don't watch this episode, it's bad, makes you want to touch the squishy cat,
Be warned.
by all means.
Yeah, we told you.
But I did tell you, when I say this is the worst episode in Sailor Moon, it's a contender.
It's
Maybe-
genuinely a contender.
Like,
Maybe after we're done, we'll have to
so,
make a
like,
list.
in the beginning of the first arc, in those 8 fucking episodes between the beginning and when Mercury shows up, there's some really boring episodes in there. Like, there's just some really, like, the low points of Sailor Moon are just a snooze. Like, wow, nothing happens in this episode. And I genuinely have to go back and see what my reactions were to see if I hated one of those more than I'm confused by this one. Like, but yes, it surely is a contender for, like, if like number 1 is the Marine Cathedral, number 199 is this one.
Yeah, like this, it certainly for me is the worst episode so far in arc.
Oh, for sure.
And that includes some really in the Doomtree arc and
oh yeah, the Doomtree arc just has a lot of real stinkers. I forgot that we sat through all 13 episodes of that.
We sure did.
You did.
Yeah, there are some bad episodes of Sailor Moon. There's some real bad episodes of Sailor Moon.
Really are.
But there are some really good ones too, though.
Yeah.
I think one time we got 5 in a row that were all like bad.
Oh yeah, we
have.
did have.
That's why this was such a remarkable crop this month.
Yeah, we've definitely had shows where we were like, we don't have much to say because it was bad this week. The opposite, like everything was pretty good, but everything was pretty good, but there wasn't like a ton to say. As you can see, we've cruised through this. Oh, Lady Chapel Cosplay asks, what was the best episode so far in the DiC dub? Oh man,
I think I got it. For
what do you think?
It's gonna be when Nephra dies, because all that voice acting, like Molly acted the hell out of that accent. Like I was crying with her.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I don't know that I can argue with that one.
This is such a good episode, and
I'm trying to think of the episode where the DiC dub actually made it better by cutting things. I'd genuinely have to go back through all my notes.
There have been episodes where they made Luna like. No, they always make her mean.
They make her like Luna so mean. I was trying to flip back through my notes to see if I could find something, and then I just got distracted by like I drew a bunch of pictures of Morgana being fat, and then a bunch of notes about my book, and then some game design things, and I'm like, where are my DiC dub notes?
Morgana is Monica's cat, by the way.
That's my cat. Yeah. Yes, she's not little, she's large. I have a big fat tuxie named Morgana who has kitten energy. Which Morgana? Persona 5.
Yeah.
She's a black and white tuxie who's got like the mask.
Yeah.
That's why she's called Morgana. I'm not at home, otherwise I would go get her and hold her up.
And demonstrate, yeah.
And demonstrate.
You would do the Lion King.
Adorable and large. Oh, it's my kitty.
Yeah.
But I can post pictures of her on our Discord.
Yeah.
Persona 5. She's named for the cat from Persona 5. And when I show you a picture of her, you'll be like, ah, yes, that's why you named her after the cat from Persona 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best DiC dub episode.
Best, like, I don't know that I have a better one than that one, because that also gave us the great will your evil organization give you off?
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah. They're freaking delightful. Do they give you vacation days? DiC's version of the Rhett Butler episode was also an absolute banger. Like, they also improved on the comedy of an already comedic episode.
Whenever someone
Yeah.
is like, what's your favorite thing of when I've watched a bunch of stuff, I'm like, I can't remember anything.
That's, yeah, my brain is like, I'm like, can I go on Wikipedia and pull up a list? If I can't look at a list, my memory cannot just pull things from the ether. It cannot do that.
Like, I was thinking about the ending of the first arc, but then that's 2 episodes squished together, and then when you watch that compared to the original, it's not nearly as good, but
Right,
there's
yeah.
elements of that I really like, though. And
Because that fight against Beryl is so good.
yeah, I'm desperately trying to think of which episode we watched where we were like, okay, the full-length version of this just goes on too long. The DiC dub nailed it because it made it shorter, and I
Yeah,
cannot
that
remember
definitely
which episode
happened.
that is.
I just
It
don't
definitely
remember what
happened,
that
yeah.
was.
How about
It's
this?
one of the early fillers, and I can't remember which one.
Maybe the cruise ship? You really like the cruise ship.
No, I do like the cruise ship episode. I think that's one of the stronger episodes of the first arc, but I don't think that goes on too long in Japanese. It was one of the filler episodes where they're like, they just cut some unfunny parts, like, just full stop. They just cut some unfunny parts. It's better because it's shorter. It might have been the weird ass episode with the bat monster. Do you remember with like the cassette tape and the guy on the radio?
Yes.
And it's like,
yes. The most fascinating and yet weirdly boring episode.
yeah, it's like almost a good episode, and I
Exactly,
feel
yep.
like maybe might have been that one where the DiC dub just makes it a little shorter, and it being just a little shorter. Oh no, that one was cut completely, so it's not that one.
Yeah.
That's just another weird, just another fucking weird episode.
Yep.
Of the weird incongruous episodes, like from the first 2 arcs, I think that's one of the better ones. Best one is of course the Monster Hotel, and then that one, and then this piece of shit.
Yeah.
The dinosaur episode.
Oh my god. Fucking dinosaur episode. I can't. Like, they cut some of them. They cut like the offensive one with the shitty boy classmates from the beginning of the Jedi arc. Absolute garbage. I'm fine that they cut it.
Yeah, and then Lady Triple Cosplay also asked, which dub voice is your favorite out of the Sailor Scouts?
Oh, Susan Roman is Jupiter.
Yeah, like for me, I was like, you're gonna make me choose between Susan Roman and Terry Hawks. Holy shit.
Oh, this is hard.
For me, I'm gonna hard say Susan Roman is Jupes, and like I'm gonna give it to her over Terry Hawks because I think the DiC dub's treatment of Makoto is slightly truer to her character than Usagi is. And while Terry Hawks' take on Usagi is really good, it's a take on Usagi as opposed to an accurate portrayal of the character. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
that's fair. That's fair. And I like that as a decision for how to choose which of them pips the other one at the post. Because for me, the performances are both incredible, iconic, so consistently well delivered, so suited to the character that they're portraying. But as you noted, the character of Lita is more true to Makoto.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a fair call. But like for me, to be clear, that is they're this and this,
That's
just
fair.
edging out. And again,
Also,
that's
shout
not
out
to say.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's not to say that the other characters' voices are weak. In fact, I think it would be easier for me to choose which voice I think is the least strong out of the main cast. Not necessarily the Sailor Scouts, but the main cast. For me, it's Darien.
Oh yeah, I would agree. I forgot he was an option.
I forgot too.
The question was out of the Sailor Scouts, and he's not one. But I know we love the hard question. Like, it makes it really fun.
No, please, keep them coming if you want to.
We like to think. We like something to chew on. Please give us something to chew on. Yeah. Like, also shout out to Terry Hawks' yodeling.
Yes. Terry Hawks, she has to scream and ululate so many times, and she manages, sometimes she has to do it for a long breadth of time. She manages to make it vocally interesting, funny, and fun.
Also, like, just to be fair to Terry, she's also being compared. Her work has to be compared innately to the work of Kotono Mitsuishi, who is like one of the best voice actresses ever.
Yes.
Like, which is not to say that Terry Hawks didn't do a phenomenal job, because she did. She really did put her whole pussy into it. It's tremendous. It's just that Kotono Mitsuishi is literally one of the greatest voice actors who has ever lived.
There are individual lines where, like, in my head to this day, I can hear the short iya and then the long iya of no when Galaxia kills the Inners and Eternal Moon is holding Mars in her arms as she crumbles away and then screams. And like I can hear it in my head to this day, exactly the delivery. That's how like gut-wrenching it is.
Yeah,
Or-
and then you can go watch Noir and XL Saga and hear her be two completely different people.
Yes. Or like I think I want to say it was like this past summer, it made the rounds, the clip from S where she's trying to, and she can't successfully transform, and she's trying to crisis makeup over and over again, and like gives that, again, like emotionally, like she's dredged up every emotion from her gut and is giving it all in that performance. Like you can just feel it. It's so good that like the internet fell in love with it, even people who otherwise hadn't watched Sailor Moon in Japanese.
Yeah. Sailor Denzel asks, do you know if they released the R movie after the rest of the episodes released in the US? I have no idea.
We just decided that we would do the
I
movie.
don't remember what order they did them in. If they did that before or after the lost episodes.
So I guess to answer your question, no, I don't know.
No, we don't know.
Yeah, we'd have to try and dig it up on the wiki.
But we will be reviewing the movie after the season.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's so like I have regularly rewatched a lot of Sailor Moon. I regularly reread it. I'm constantly re-engaging with my favorite thing. I don't think I've watched the Sailor Moon R movies since high school.
So the Sailor Moon R movie, it's my favorite of the movies. And I there was a point where you could watch the entire thing in Japanese on YouTube. This would have been several years ago now, because nowadays they don't let you do that anymore. But for a while, like there were times when I would just rewatch the ending part of the R movie with the Moon Revenge sequence over and over and over and over again. And like so there are not every DiC song is a banger. Not every song in the Japanese series is a banger. Certain songs are unquestioned bangers, and Moon Revenge for
is
me
one of them.
is an
Fuck yeah,
unquestioned
Moon
banger.
Revenge. I'm with you on that one. I had that burned to a CD that I listened to on the bus in the morning going to high school.
Yes.
A little Moon Revenge, carrying me through.
Yep.
Carrying me through surviving Catholic school in the early 2000s. Like, ladies, I'm not okay.
But somehow Moon Revenge got you through.
The Moon Revenge got me through it, among many other things. Ura says, to my knowledge, the movies were dubbed by Pioneer after the lost episodes, but before Cloverway got the rights to S and Super S. That sounds right to me.
All right. So then
Fair
next episode will be React to Sailor Moon Pioneer dub.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we will get started on those lost episodes, which will be very exciting because, like, the first half of our ones that I've seen so many times, because when I was young, like, they would just air the series and then air it again and air it again. So, like, I've seen those episodes so many times.
Get up in the morning and I would iron my uniform because I just mentioned I went to Catholic school, and because also I'm very ADHD, so I've never woken up. I'm not a morning person, and it's cruel to make teenagers get up the way we do. But so I would get up like 15 minutes before I had to leave, a practice I still engage with, and iron my uniform and like throw it on before I got on the bus and like eat a yogurt and go to school. And I would watch, it was more than 15 minutes because I think I watched an entire episode of Sailor Moon, like half an hour before I had to go to school.
Sure.
I have very fond memories of watching the Amy versus Birdie episode, like half awake, ironing my uniform. My younger siblings, who I'm not allowed to show anything that could possibly be violent, exciting, risque, or sexual, are asleep. I'm allowed to have the TV because we only had one TV, and I was definitely not allowed to have a TV in my room, nor have privacy. And I have very fond memories of watching that before going to school. Like, that came on, and I was like, "Oh, I'm nostalgic," both in a good way and a bad one.
Yep. Yeah, like for me, it came on early in the mornings. I couldn't watch the early in the morning airings because like that was a time when my parents made me get up and get ready for school before they would get up and get ready for school. They were teachers, which is why I say that. And so they didn't want me like loudly watching TV, which would have been disruptive for them and would have been wasteful of my time. But it also aired at 2:30 in the afternoons, and my high school let out at 2:06 p.m. So I would get out of high school, get on the bus would get me home. I was like book it the 2 blocks from the bus stop to my house and just like bust in the door right in time to watch the 2:30 episode of Sailor Moon just religiously. But also my brother, who got me into Sailor Moon, had recorded all of the episodes onto VHS tapes. So whenever I was at my dad's house, I would also just watch Sailor Moon until my dad got there.
I'm the oldest, so my
Hmm.
middle sister is 5 years younger than me, and my youngest sister is 10 years younger than me. And God forbid a 4-year-old see Sailor Moon.
Oh no,
So I
they
was
might
not
learn
allowed.
some Sailor Moon says
So
recommendation.
I was not allowed to watch any kind of anime in the house because anime sometimes has boobs in it, or legs,
Sure.
or like this anime is for teenagers a lot of the
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
It's not all for teenagers, but a lot of anime is for teenagers, and I was a teenager at the time, so I wanted to watch things that were for teenagers, but because things that are for teenagers sometimes are lightly sexual and violent, I was forbidden from watching any of them where a child might see them, instead of, like, I don't know, allowing me to have some space. So I
Mhm.
just simply wasn't allowed to express myself because my younger sibling had the audacity to exist.
Yeah.
So I also did You Grew Up Catholic and that checks out. Yes, it does. Thanks. I also did a lot of like just going to my friends' houses and watching that, but I do have fond memories of that particular episode coming on
Yeah.
TV in the morning on the WB. Was on basic cable.
Yep.
And then Dragon Ball Z was on right after, and I never could. It was on. It would queue up, and I would watch like half an episode of Dragon Ball Z before the bus came because it was,
Yep.
or like the
Sounds
first 10
about
minutes
right.
or whatever, because there was absolutely no time to watch both episodes.
Yep.
And then real quick, Ura says, when Toonami got these episodes for syndication, the ratings blew up, and that's when we got the lost episodes and the movies, and then 2 more seasons because of the Save Our Sailors campaign worked.
Yeah, it really did.
Yep.
I remember that. I remember that the Save Our Sailors
remember
move on web rings. Do you remember web rings? Do you want to talk about how old
I
we are?
do remember web rings. I remember the specific illustration, which was from the art movie, because we get to see each of them as little children in, I think, the opening and the closing, and it's a picture of them each as their little children selves, and they're holding a little banner, which has been edited to say "Save Our Sailors." It's very cute.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Sailor Moon is now aired at 3:00 in the morning on the in the
In the
Toonami block.
Toonami block. Oh yeah, Toonami did that rewind on Fridays. Yeah, that's really cool.
Heck yeah.
I don't have cable though. Sailor
I have
Moon
cable, but I almost never remember to watch it.
If I did have cable and insomnia, I only have one of those things, I would remember to watch Sailor Moon at 3:00 in the morning. But I do have all of it in my own possession, so Sailor Moon is
Yeah.
airing whenever I feel like it. Yeah. Yura says I have all 200 episodes of Blu-ray and digital, so like when I want to watch Sailor Moon, I watch Sailor Moon. Me too, my friend. Me too.
True. And with that, we come to the end of our show. Thank you for joining us from Bishoujo Senshi Slumber Party DiC Dub. The last time I get to say that, DiC Dub, episode 61 to 65 discussion.
And as always, our fellow Moonies, check us out on all our socials and follow us to find out the next time we're going live. And you can find our links in the link tree in our description. Don't forget to tune in to Eternal Mooncast on Saturday, March 8th. It'll be a Sailor Mercury episode with Erica of K Sisters Cosplay. I can read. Oh boy. I've been your co-host, Monica. If you want to know what I'm up to and interested in, feel free to follow me at Gay Wizard Emporium on Tumblr. Keep up to date with progress on the novel I'm writing, which I promise Sailor Moon fans will love, as well as see whatever else I'm enjoying at the moment. Or don't follow me because I'm really upset about the state of the world right now. So I'm Tumblring a lot about that. Maybe give it a minute.
I've been your co-host, Relia. If you like what I do and you want to, you can find my most active socials popping up on the screen below. If you want to follow my cosplay adventures, you can follow me on Instagram at Relia Lacademon. If you want to follow my artwork, I'm on Tumblr at Art Crystals and on Blue Sky as Relia. Thank you all so much for supporting the show, and join us for our next slumber party, which this time is going to be on March 15th, the Ides of March.
Ooh,
Exciting. All right, as always, I've been your host, Michi. You can find my personal socials at MEW21 across the web. For my And now Monica has joined some of the fun for K-pop reactions. You can check out the K-pop Voyage.
Yeah, K-pop Voyage is fun if you want to hear me like talk about music critique. I do a little bit of music critique while we watch K-pop videos.
It's a
Your
lot of
spicy
fun.
hot takes.
Yeah, my spicy hot takes.
All right, and for our parent show, Eternal Mooncast, you can find. Oh, we'll talk, girl. For our parent show, Eternal Mooncast, you can find previous episodes of our show on YouTube. This episode will be coming out not this Monday, but the Monday after, 7 p.m. Eastern. We appreciate any likes, comments, follows, or however you'd like to support our show your own way. As a quick reminder, these have just been our personal opinions, and we celebrate all respectful Mooney opinions here. And good night.
Good night.
Bye.
See you next time.